Welcome back to JJW Outdoors. Justin here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to tie a daisy chain. Hope you enjoy. Please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, because you're going to like how to tie this one. Alrighty, as you can see behind me, I have a tarp, I have a big rope, and I have some other goodies right in here, which we're going to get to in a minute. So a daisy chain. What is a daisy chain? When you go online on YouTube and look up a daisy chain, typically you see a rock climber use it. Now a rock climber has a harness on, and they use a lanyard which wraps around the main portion of your tree, and it's usually arm's length, a little bit more than arm's length. That will have a carabiner on it, it will have a knot on the end, and it will have a loop, typically for a tree climber. They make it look nice and pretty, and it wraps around their belt. That is what you're gonna see when you look up a daisy chain. But in a bushcraft field, it's a little different. So let me show you. So I have in my little bag, I gotta get it, I have my rope. Now I used this rope in my overnighter video. I used it as my ridge line, but I never showed what I did to dry it out, because you don't want to wrap it up like this and let it dry out like this. So in the bushcraft field, for me personally, is when I get home, I use a daisy chain. So let me unwrap this for a minute. So for a daisy chain, you want some type of a loop on the end. So a bushcrafter will already have a loop in their rope, typically a bowline, overhand knot, something like that. So all we're gonna do is we're gonna take this, and we got our loop, we're gonna pass a biter rope through our loop like this, and that's gonna create a loop. Then we're gonna grab it through that loop, and we're gonna grab it through that loop, and we're gonna continue doing that, the same process. Grab it through, grab that bite, pull it through, grab that bite, pull it through. What that's doing is it's creating a chain, as you can see there. Now, you can make this chain however big you want it, however small you want it. As you can see, I've made this chain, the loops being very small, which works. Let me get to the end really quick. Now you can also make it bigger. Now once you get to the end, as you see, I have a carabiner and I got to my end. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hook it through that last loop, and now you can see it's not gonna unwind itself. Now what is really good about a daisy chain is when you're ready to use it. So you drop your one end, you go to the last end that you started on. So in this case, I locked it off with my carabiner. I'm gonna undo my carabiner, I'm gonna leave it just like this, and I'm gonna drop it. What that does is it allows it just to come all undone with no knots, except for the same knot you started with at the end. So again, I made little loops. Say you want big giant loops like this. You can make big giant loops like this. And when you get to the end, you lock it off with the carabiner. And just like that, you have a daisy chain with some large loops. And then when you're ready to use it, you unclip it and you let it go. And just like that, oops, mine tangled. Just like that, you have no knots, no mess, except for the loop you started with in the beginning. Alrighty, now let's see. Now that you know how to tie it with a thinner rope, let's tie it with some webbing. So in here, typically for a hammock, you will have webbing with you. Say if your webbing is really soaking wet, all you gotta do is just tie a little loop in your webbing at the end. Just a regular overhand knot, nothing fancy, nothing special. And you do the same thing. Put your loop through, put your loop through, loop through, loop through, loop through, loop through. And just like that, you have created a daisy chain. Now when you get to the end, since I don't have a carabiner, we are just going to tie a regular overhand knot, just like that. And now you can see I have a daisy chain. Untie your knot, you have your two loops, and you drop it. Just like that, it's all undone. So when people are tree climbing, typically they will have webbing on them like this. And tree climbers like to use this because then they will attach it on their belt like this. So as you can see, it's nice and fancy. It's not getting all over the place. It's not going to tangle up. So you can have it leaning, or you can have it wrapped around you, or you can have it wherever you want while you're tree climbing. It works. Now it also works, let me tie my knot. It also works really well to just throw it in your bag. As you can see here, I just threw it in my bag, right? I want it, I pull it out. No knots, no mess. Now, you can also do this with a big rope. Now this big rope, I have it wrapped up a certain way for storage. But say if the rope is soaking wet, the daisy chain actually allows the rope to dry out faster, quicker, easier, and more reliable, I would say. I tied my fancy knot so nothing's all tangled. See, it's nice and easy. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tie a bowline on the end, because you know, a bushcrafter, you gotta know the bowline knot. So if you do not know how to tie the bowline knot, I have a video out there in my knots playlist, how to tie the bowline. You guys should go check that out. So again, we have our loop. We're gonna put our hand through the loop. We're gonna grab. We'll pull the loop back over our hand. Do the same thing. Loop, hand through, grab. Hand through, grab. Hand through, grab. Now you can do this with your big rope. You can see, it goes pretty quick. Goes actually really quick. But the longer the rope is, the longer it's going to take you to do this. Then when you get to the end, tie your overhand knot, and just like that, you have created a big giant daisy chain. Just like that. Big giant daisy chain. I love this daisy chain. All right, to undo it, all we're gonna do is undo our knot again. We're gonna find our loop and loop connection like that, and we're just gonna let go. And just like that, no knots, no nothing. It's all gonna come back undone. Oops, it wrapped on itself. I went too fast. But just like that, it's all gonna unravel, and you won't have to play with any knots. Just like that. All right, now if you are at home, you know, a homeowner, you don't really play with ropes too much. A really good one is to have an extension cord. So as you can see, I got a little extension cord with me. Now, if I were to just throw an extension cord, usually it gets all tangled up and it looks nasty. To fix that, you tie a slip knot like this, a regular slip knot. All you want to do, you want to take your extension cord, create a loop, pass the end through your loop, you created another loop. Then you want to grab and do the exact same thing you did with your rope. You're just doing it with an extension cord. And as you see there, I have made a daisy chain with an extension cord, which is really cool. So now you can hang this up in your garage, and it looks nice and neat when you have it hung up on the wall like this, and it's fast and easy. You're ready to use it. You grab your plug-in end, you plug it into the wall, and you run this all the way out to where you need it. And just like that, you have your extension cord. All right, I'm gonna give you one more example now. Say you have a tarp and you're ready to pack up for the evening, right? But you don't want a messy knot. You don't want to worry about, maybe your hands are cold or something, you don't want to worry about it. You have a bowline knot on your tarp, and then this string is what's staked to the ground. Well, instead of taking this off every single time, you can just grab your hand through this loop, grab it, keep grabbing it, and make your little daisy chain. And then once you get to the end, all you do is tie your overhand knot, And just like that, you have a daisy chain on a tarp that won't get tangled. So now, you got your daisy chain on your tarp. When you're ready to use it again, you know, you set your shelter up, you undo your one knot, you just drop it, and right there, it's already attached to your tarp. If you have a stake on this end, and you're ready to go. Alrighty, so now that you know how to tie the daisy chain and what it's used for, get out there, go do it. Go tie your own daisy chain. Now, like I said, the daisy chain for me is when my string is all wet. I've been out in the woods, you know, maybe at night, maybe a couple nights, rope's all wet. I tie the daisy chain and I hang it up in my room, hang it up in the garage, hang it up really wherever you want to hang it up. And it looks all nice and neat, looks pretty. You could even throw this in your bag like this, and when you're ready to use it, you know, you just reach in, you grab it, and you know nothing's gonna be tangled. All you have to do is undo your one end, boom, there you go. It's all ready for you. Now remember, you can do this with tarp, big rope, webbing, string. You can do this with any type of rope, string you want. So get out there, go do this for yourself. I'm curious, leave it in the comments below if you like seeing this. I have a lot more really cool how to wrap up your ropes if you want to see them. JJW Outdoors, out on the next adventures. See ya.